This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to this session of data visualization with Tableau. So in this session, we are going to basically learn about Tableau, right? Consider it as an introduction to our Tableau session. Okay, so we'll see certain topics, right? In this, our focus would be on data visualization part. So let's get started. So what we are going to learn today. Okay, so learning outcomes today would be what is data visualization, what are different types of data visualization tools. We'll see what is big data. We will see the different Tableau products. Then we'll see what is Tableau Public with an example. And then we will see how to create a data visualization. We'll take two examples. First would be your Superstore US data visualization and India statewide COVID-19 cases. So this is what we are going to learn today in this session. Okay, so here's the big question. What is data visualization? Okay, so let's say we have the data, but the data itself might not make much sense to us, right? Or it will be very too much of time consuming to interpret exactly what the data is saying to the end user. But if we use the data visualization tool, right? So basically what we are doing, we are helping the end user to understand the information that we wanted to provide with the data analysis. Now, one thing we need to understand, what is business intelligence and what is data visualization. So business intelligence basically is the way you extract the data or the things that you do to data before the analysis. Okay, and then after the analysis, what you do to the data for making sensible interpretations from the data by making the end user understand exactly what your data wanted to say is data visualization. Okay, so for example, let's say if I have to present a data, I can do it in Excel, but if I have to present the outcome of that data, I can extract the outcome of that data and I can put it in a PowerPoint presentation, right? And that will make more sense. I mean, PowerPoint presentation is not for data analysis. PowerPoint presentation, in simple words, I'm trying to explain it in layman language, that PowerPoint presentation is basically for data visualization and MS Excel is basically for data analysis. Okay, so let's see data visualization with an example. Okay, so here is the data, right? So we have got product A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. That's 8 products, and we have got 5 regions: Northeast, Southeast, Central, Northeast, and Southeast, Northwest, and Southwest. So let's say we have got 5 regions, we have got 8 products, right? And we have got 40 cells here. If I ask you to identify what are the top 5 sales, that cells which have the highest numbers of sales or highest numbers out of this 40 cells which you can see right now. Okay, I mean, you can take 2 minutes, right? No problem, right? You can go through all the numbers and you can identify which are the top 5 numbers present into these cells. I know this would be a tedious job, right? To look at each number, remember them, compare with the rest of the 39, and then understand whether this is the highest or not, right? And then you have to do, if you have to just do one number, it makes sense. If you have to do 5 numbers, right, it might be a tedious process. Okay, so this is the way a data analysis finally looks like, right? I've extracted the data, I've put it in front of you, but this will not help, right, unless until the data visualization part doesn't come to rescue. Okay, for example, your manager or CEO of a company or your client or any end user, right, be it an intern in your company, if you are giving the data in this manner, right, it will be very difficult for them to pass on the information to you. But if I just do little bit of changes, right, if I put this data into data visualization tool, I'll not do anything else. It's the same data, right? But if I put it in this format, okay, the same data, the same format, the same cells, but for the end user, I have highlighted all the cells which are having the maximum numbers, right? Then it makes more sense. Now you can easily say what are the rankings of the top five cells, the top five numbers ranking. You can easily get it. Okay. So this is the power of data visualization. It makes the end user understand the data in way faster manner, and the complications is less, right? He doesn't get the headache. He understands the data more well. He understands what information you want to pass on with this data. Okay, so this is the power of data visualization. Okay, so I hope we have understood what do we mean by data visualization. Okay, so there are different data visualization tools, right? One of them is Power Pivot, which we are going to cover in this course, right? The second and the popular one is Python and R, but we are not going to cover into this, I mean, these two topics into this particular session. But yes, this entire session will give you a base to start your process of learning of Python and R. Tableau is what we are going to do in this session. So these are all your data visualization tools, including Power BI, which we will be covering in these sessions. Okay. There are other tools as well. For example, SAS is there, MATLAB is there. So many tools are there which helps you to have a data visualization. Okay. And the major ones are highlighted here. Out of this four, we are going to cover these three tools in our session. Okay, now here's the big question. What is big data, right? So if I take you back to this data, right, this data, if I take you back, right, if there are just 40 cells, it makes sense, right? It still makes sense for you to highlight this data into the table itself, right, by highlighting the maximum numbers. But let's say there's big data, there's a huge data. When I say big data, it doesn't necessarily means huge, but there's certain criteria. What are the criteria for a data to be a big data? Let's see them now. Okay, so what is big data? So three criteria for any data set to qualify to become a big data. First is the increasing volume. I mean, the volume should be continuously increasing. For example, let's say the COVID-19 cases data in the world, which the institutions are actually tracking, right? That's a big data, right? The Google Map data, which is being tracked by Google, right? That's a big data because it has an increasing volume. It's not stagnant. The data is not stagnant. The data is being added in volume on each and every second, each and every minute, each and every day, right? So volume is increasing continuously. The velocity is also increasing, right? For example, the speed of the data being added is also increasing, and then there's a lot of variety in the data, right? If these three things are present in any data set, right, that will be qualifying to become a big data. So example are your Google searches, Met report, that is your meteorological department of India. So where is the rainfall? Where is the drought? What would be the climate tomorrow? What has been the climate all these days in this month or in this year? Right. So everything is reported to Met. Right. So that's also qualifies for a big data. Right. So we all understand that yes, huge data is different and big data is different now. Right. So when somebody asks you, when you want to understand what is big data, you need to remember that there are three criteria for a data set to qualify as big data. First is your increasing volume, second is your increasing velocity, and third is there should be a lot of variety in that data. Okay, now let's jump to Tableau, right? So Tableau is an important reason. I mean, it has been a product for since a number of years now, and it is a very important product for data visualization, right? So now the Tableau has been growing, right? It has added many other products to its product line. So we'll understand what are these products of Tableau. So first one is your Tableau Public. Now Tableau Public is the data visualization tool, right? Just like the other tools of Tableau, right? The other products of Tableau. But what happens in Tableau Public, right? So there is a Tableau server, right? And once you download the Tableau Public, you get access to all the publications, all the data that has been published, all the data visualizations that has been published in that Tableau server. You get the access to that, and then whatever you create, whatever analysis you do, whatever data visualization you are doing, right, that doesn't remain anonymous. I mean, you cannot save it locally, you need to save it in the Tableau server. Okay, but the good point is it is, yes, any question? Okay, the good thing is that it is
Oh,
free of.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Hello,
Yeah, tell
hello.
me. Can hear you.
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
is this Tableau product? Is this Tableau public, whatever you're calling? Is this available on a public domain to download?
Yes, it is available for public domain to download. Okay, so whatever research you are doing, whatever analysis you are doing, you'll be saving it in your server, right? And if you share the access to someone, right, or someone can share your can see your profile, and under your profile they can see whatever work you have done, and they can download your work, they can see it. Okay, so the uh, it cannot be saved locally, it has to be saved in server itself, but it's since it is free of cost. Okay, so it has access to everyone, right? So you can say it's kind of open market resource from Tableau. Okay, so that's I hope this answers your question. So that is your Tableau Public. Okay, so basically what we will be working will be mainly using Tableau Public. Okay, because this for learning purpose. Just give me a second. Okay, so sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so that's Tableau Public. Now, what is Tableau Desktop, right? So Tableau Desktop is something which you can save your information locally, right? And that's the difference between, basically basic difference between Tableau Public and Tableau Desktop is that in Tableau Public you cannot save the things locally, right? But in Tableau Desktop you can save the things locally. So there are two different applications from Tableau, as Tableau Public and Tableau Desktop. Okay, so initial 14 days of free trial period would be there for Tableau Desktop. Anybody who wants to, I mean, whatever you learn in Tableau Public, you can implement the same in Tableau Desktop, right? But remember, the Desktop basically registers your machine number. So once you download it, you use the 14 days trial period. After that, you cannot reuse it by uninstalling and reinstalling it in your system. Okay, the same is Tableau server, right? So now whatever Tableau server, irrespective of whether you're working in Tableau Desktop or Tableau Public, right, you can use Tableau server to publish your work there, right? And depending on if you are using the licensed version of Tableau Desktop, right, even in free trial period also, the anonymity is secured here. Tableau server is absolutely secure for Tableau Desktop, but it's not, I mean, anybody can access to your data or whatever work you are doing in Tableau Public. Now Tableau Online is like end-to-end data. I mean, end-to-end user. I mean, a person having a Tableau Online license can only access, suppose you're sharing your whatever information or whatever you have developed in Tableau Online, right? You have sent it to the end user for someone to see. That person also should have Tableau Online license. Then only he will be able to see whatever work you have done in Tableau Online. So more or less, all these four are same. Okay, it's just that how, I mean, the work is the same. Okay, but it just depends on how is the usage, right? For example, this Tableau server and Tableau Online is a very costly product from Tableau. Tableau Desktop is a medium cost range product, and Tableau Public is free. Now, what is Tableau Prep Builder? Basically, it helps you to for basically cleaning the data, right? What you do as a cleaning the data, right? For your, before using this Tableau Public or Tableau Desktop, you can use Tableau Prep Builder to clean the data so that you have the right information which you want to create the data visualization for. So that's mainly what Tableau Prep Builder is used for. So what we are going to learn, right? We are going to learn through Tableau Public, okay? Because that's the domain where since this is for learning purpose, right? We are not having any sensitive information which we do not want to disclose it to the public, right? So we'll be working mainly on Tableau Public. I would encourage all of you to download Tableau Public, or you can download Tableau Desktop 14 days trial period as well. That will come free of cost. So for your learning purpose, you can do either of the both. Okay, so since we have understood Tableau products, right, let's proceed. Okay, so let's go to Tableau Public, right? Let's go to Tableau Public, right? So we'll start from basic, right? I'll go to your server. I mean, I'll go to Google Chrome. We'll start from there. Okay. So what you need to do, right? You need to search for Tableau Tableau Public download, and on the tableau.com you can easily get this application, right? You just need to enter your email address and you need to download this app, right? So that will help you in downloading the Tableau Public application. Okay, so let's say I have already downloaded this data. I mean, I have already downloaded this application, right? So I've already downloaded Tableau Public. So it will take time to open and downloading. It's like 300 or 400 MB files. So it will take time to download and all, right? So you can do it at your leisure, right? So today you can see how I'm doing it and you can practice the same. I'll share the data sets with you, right, on our WhatsApp group, right? And you can actually see how we're doing it. Okay, I have already downloaded one data set which I'll be sharing with you, right? That's a Tableau file I've already downloaded, right? So I'm just going to open that. I'm just trying to show you how this Tableau works for data visualization part. Okay, so this is the file. Okay, if you can see, this is the file with the name of twbx. So that twbx will be your extension name for your Tableau packaged workbook, right? For example, the way you save your Excel file as xlsx, similarly for for Tableau you will be saving it for .twbx. So that's our Tableau file, right? So I've just saved one file, right? I'll just open it for you. Okay, so let's say this is the file, this is the data, right? And this is how the Tableau will be looking like. Okay, so this is how the Tableau will be looking like. Okay, so whatever you start with, first thing you understand that there is something called data source. So data source is from where you have actually extracted the data. Now there are many ways you can extract the data, right? You can extract the data, let's say from Excel, you can do it from PDF, you can do it from the other forms of data which can be available, right? So you can input this data. I told you Tableau is not about analysis. Tableau is about data visualization. So you have already made the data ready, right? And then you are importing this data. So I'll show you to you how do we import data and all, right? For the time being, right? Let's say I have imported this data already, right? So here, whatever data I've imported will be visible in this something called data source. If you can see on this left hand side corner, right? If it is visible to you, okay, it is the data source. So here data source will show you what is the data that you have imported, right? And then your canvas or the things that you'll be creating, you'll be doing it in the sheet one, right? You can name it according to your wish. For example, I'm just naming it as data visualization example, right? Because this is just for your data example, just for you to understand how this data visualization thing works in Tableau, right? So I'll take you to the other things. Okay, so if you can see here, this is the data. Now this data will have two formats. Okay, so whatever you see here will be the dimensions on the top things. Whatever you see here will be the dimensions, right? So dimensions are something which are very rigid, which do not change, right? And then this is your measures. So dimensions and measures are two things that are very important in any data set. For example, if you go to this data resource, right, you see that birth rate, business tax rate, CO2 emissions, country name, right, ease of business, GDP, right? These are all your dimensions. Okay, these are your dimensions, right? And these numbers which you see, right, this data which you see, right, these numbers will be your measures, right? These are subject to change. This will change. For example, country will not change, right? So that will be the part of your dimensions, but this GDP will change, right? So if GDP changes, it is part of your measures. Okay, so there are two main categories of your data. This is the data on the left hand side corner. You can see the two categories of data. We're not touching the analytics part today. So the data part will have the dimensions and the data part will have measures, right? Now you can do all your analysis by using this dimensions and measures. Okay, and then as you see in Excel, you have got file, right, where you can open and open some data and import it, right? Or you can create a uh, new worksheet or new Tableau sheet for yourself, right? Or you can close it, right? So it's just like the MS thing, right? The file thing works there, right? And then the data will give you the new data source if you want to extract data from somewhere. The worksheet options are there. Now this is the worksheet, right? This thing which I have named as data visualization example. If you see, if I'm putting my cursor here, it's saying new worksheet. If I click it, what happens? And another worksheet gets added here. Okay, so this is for your worksheet, right? And then once we do our canvas, once we do our data visualization for a certain topic on this worksheet, right, I can do the other one in the sheet 2 and simply on sheet 3, and so if I want, I can put all of them together for my analysis part on the dashboard. If I want to share it as a story, I can create a story and I can do it, right? So these three things will be very important for you to work on Tableau: your worksheet, your dashboard, and your story. Then you have the analysis part, which we are not touching today. the map part, right? How you want to format the map part, because map is important part in the graphical representation of the data. And then you have the window, what you want to show, what you want to hide, you can do it here, right? And then you have got the analysis part, what you want, how you want to create your canvas here, right? The data visualization canvas, how you want that will be helped by these three things called pages, filters, and marks. Okay, and then you have got columns, right? For example, if you want to create a table here, just like you do it in your uh, pivot chart, right? You do it in your columns and rows. Similarly, what information you want to put in columns, what information you want to put it in row, everything you can do it by pulling this information here. Okay, so let's get started. Let's do it. Okay, so let's say the analysis that I want to do is, let's say I want to see the population, right? I want to see the population, right? The total population of the, for example, this whatever date this data has been extracted, till that day I want to understand, I want to see the map representation of the population for till that day, till this which date we have taken this information, right? So first thing first, what I can do is I need to create a map here, map of the world. Okay, so what I'll be doing, right, there, to create any map I need to have latitude and I need to have longitude. So what I'll be doing, I'll be pulling this longitude by clicking, by doing the left click of the mouse, and then without releasing it, I will pull it and I'll put it in columns, right? So longitude, I have put it in columns, right? Similarly, the latitude, I will put it in the row, right? Once I've done this, you can see the world map itself will appear in your canvas. Okay, the world map itself will be appearing this canvas. Okay, if you want, you can rename this sheet, right? For example, I have renamed this. Okay, so let's redo it, right? I'll be deleting the sheet. So what I'm doing, I'm putting the longitude to the column, right, and I'm putting the latitude to the row, right? So with my column and row combination of longitude and latitude, I can see the world map here, right? I can zoom it, I can minimize the zoom, I can pin it, I can fix the map, right? And I can do many other things by zooming a particular country or particular area, right? And different shapes. Fine. So for the timing, I don't want to do anything, right? So this is my world map, right? This is my world map. What I want to do, let's say I want to see the countries in this world, right? So here in my data, I already have country, right? So if you can go to your data resource, right? So in my data resource, there are a lot of countries which are there, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be just selecting, yeah, I'll be selecting this country, I'll be putting it, and I'll be throwing it on my map. Once I do it, you can see my countries are getting highlighted. Can you see it's our country, India, our neighbor China, we have got Russian Federation, we have got Canada, US, right? Part of US is here, right? So you can see the entire world map with the countries is now visible there. Okay, so what exactly we wanted? We wanted the population part. Okay, we wanted the population part, right? So now I'll be going to my dimension, and then I'll be pulling my total population, right? Total population, and I'll be throwing it here. Now, if you see, right, based on the color, you can understand that what is the population of this world, right? Which part of the world has the highest population, right? And which part of the world has the lowest population. So you can see that India and China are more greener in color. That means the concentration of population in these two countries are very high, right? So let's say now we can do many things with this data, right? For example, let's say I want to understand, I want to give a different color, right? I want to give a different color, right, of the average population, right? So I can go to this color, right, and I can select there and I can say edit colors, right? So I can edit the color according to my choice. Okay, let's say I want to put it orange, right? So let's say I have selected orange and I say okay, okay, and I say apply. Now if you can see uh, how is the concentration of population in the world. Okay, you can see it by having a look at this map. Okay, now let's say I want to give the numbers there, I want to add the labels there for each country, right? So what I can do, right, I can just re-pull this population total number and I can go and throw it in something called labels here, right? So once I throw it, you can see that all the population numbers are automatically appearing here, right? So trust me, I've used Power BI, we have used Excel also, but the way Tableau enables you to work on the graphical representation of the data is amazing. Okay, so for example, here the population is like too much, I don't want that labels to be there, right? So all I can do is I can just throw it back, okay, and the labels are gone, right? Many thing else I can do. Let's say I want to see the year wise how this has been done. I mean, how is the year wise levels have changed, or how the year wise the populations have changed, right? I want to add that filter. So I can go to year, right? I can select a drop down box and I can say show filter, right? So automatically my year is getting added to this show filter part here. Okay. Now here I can use this drop down box, okay, and I can select something called single value drop down or single value list, right? So now what has happened, I can use this filter for understanding how the year wise population has changed, right? Or let's say population is very much confusing because all these years only two things that will be darker will be India and China. But if you see that China's color is more darker than India when it is 2000, right? But when it comes to 2012, right, you can see the darkness of both these countries are almost the same, because here we have reached to 1.123 billion and China is at 135 billion. So that's the year till 2012. Okay, suppose I don't want this population thing to be here, I can remove it. Okay, now what else I want to add, right? Let's say I want to add the GDP part. Okay, let's say what is the GDP of the world, right? So I can just select development, I can pull the GDP, I can do a left click and I can throw it here, right? And then I can go ahead and I can change the color, right? So let's say GDP looks good with pink color, so I'll be selecting a pink color and I'll say okay, let's say apply. Right, so US has the highest GDP, right? You can see how the GDP of different countries looks like. This is also US, this is your Russia, right? Your Greenland, your India, your China. Now China's GDP looks a little bit more pinkish compared in 2012 when I compare it to 2000, right? So if I put 2000, India's GDP also looks little bit less pink and China's is also a little bit less pink. But if I put it to 2012, right, you can see how the pink color of China is changing. Okay, and the other countries whose color is changing is Brazil and Russia and Australia and India, right, and Germany, right? So this basically represents the how your GDP is there, average GDP is there. Okay, if you want, you can add labels as well, right? Just select this GDP and put it to the labels as well, right? And labels will be added, right? Or if you want to remove it, right, you can just throw it back. Labels will be gone, right? If you want to Yeah, you can see the size also, right? But since it's the world map, the size will be the same, visible same. Okay, but yeah, if it is any other data, if you want to put it into a data, for example, different kinds of graphs, you can represent it here, right? I can change the format of this graph, right? And you can see how the format has changed, right? So same graph which I represented by showing in the world map, now I am showing it into bar graph. Okay, I can do sorting as well, right? It enables me to do sorting as well. Okay, so there we go from ascending, and there we are with descending, right? So let's say I go with descending, you can see this is how the graphical representation of descending, the way the descending order for this has been done. Okay, so this is US, this is China, this is Japan, Germany, and so on, right? So this is how you can do the graphical representation, or this is how your canvas will look like, right? For using different data sets in Tableau, right? Now you can save this file, you can share it with your friends, right? You can share it with the other people, right? You can share it with your end user, be it your client, be it your management, or whomever you want, you can do it, right? So this helps a lot, and this is very live and interactive software, right? I'll show you how to make it live and interactive software, right? Where you are using it very much live right there, and how it can be very useful to track, right, the live data as well. Okay, so but before we jump there, right, let me go ahead and create another file, right? We will be taking few examples now. Right, so we'll be taking two examples, right? First we'll be going and seeing the state-wise superstore report for United States, and there we will be creating a dashboard, right, for sales versus profit. So read it as a profit, not story, read it as a profit. Okay, so I'll be creating a dashboard where there will be sales versus profit. Okay, so let's come here, let's open a fresh one. I am going to open a new Tableau, right next to it, right? So this gets opened, right? And then, so this is the fresh one, the data source is also blank, right? This is the previous ones, right? If I want, I can just close it, no problem, right? So now from, you can see that I can connect to a Microsoft Excel, I can connect to text file, JSON file, which I don't know what it is, Microsoft Access, PDF, right, spatial file, statistical file, and all, right? And then you can connect it to the server as well. So now here's the difference between Tableau Desktop and Tableau Public. So here the connection to the server will be just two, that is Google Sheets and Web Data Connector, right? But in Tableau Desktop, you will have a lot of options, right? A lot of server options, including SAP, Amazon, and all, where you can go and connect to the server. Okay, so let's say I go and take my Excel file, right? So this is the Excel file I'll be sharing with you, right? So what is this Excel file all about, right? So this is Excel file which is by default given by Tableau. When you're downloading the Tableau uh, desktop, right, you will get this Excel file. Okay, so let me just find it for you. Just give me a moment. Okay, so let me pull it for US, or I'll put the entire data set. Let's work on that. So this is the sample data which is given by Tableau by default when you download the Tableau Desktop. This is absolutely for learning purpose. So this is the Excel sheet which is created by Tableau and is shared with the users so that they can actually practice the learning part. So exactly what we are going to do now, right? So basically, what is this data set? If you see, this data set has got three sheets in the Excel. First is your order sheet, second is your people sheet, and the third one is your returns sheet. Okay, so what happens, this is the superstore, let's say Amazon kind of superstore, where the people have ordered globally online things, right? And how many orders has been there, everything is recorded, right? And all the details of these orders have been recorded, right? And the details of returns are there and details of people are there, but we are going to work only on this order part. Okay, so only from sheet 1, which is your order part, we are going to create this particular example which we took, right? So if you remember, we are going to say state-wise superstore report for US. Right now I'll be putting it for country wise, right? Sales versus profit dashboard. Okay, so basically I want to create a dashboard. So I go to order, right, and I drag and drop it, right, and you can see the data is being extracted. Okay, so is it only for US or is it for different countries? I'll just check. Okay, so this is exclusive for US, which is there in this data set. So we are going to work on exclusive for US. We are going to see the state-wise uh, sales and state-wise profit, how it looks like, right? So that's exactly what we are going to see in the canvas. So this is how the data source, right, tab looks like, right? And if there are more than one data, right, you see in the other classes which we do after today, how we are going to link more than two data, three data, and so on. You have been learning this in Power Query. If you have not learned, you'll be learning it in Power Query as well. How do we do it, right? So so this is how the data source will be looking like. So now I'll go to this sheet 1. I can name this sheet 1, right? Let's say I'm naming it as uh, sales versus profit. Okay, so this is how I'm naming it. Okay, so what I want to do here, right? First I want to create the map. Okay, so I'll go to longitude, putting it in the columns. I'll go to the latitude. I'll be putting it in the rows. My world map will be there. Okay, it will be created. Fantastic. And now what I want to do, I just want to stick to US and I want to see the US states. So from this dimensions, right, I'll be pulling this state and I'll be throwing it in my world map. And you see how the data will change, right? The data will change from world map to US states. Okay, why this has not worked for us? Let's see once again. Okay, let me remove it first. Fine, so first let's, what we have done, we have put the country or region. So country is US, right? So this has come, okay, and then the state is not coming because of some reason, I don't know why, but no problem. We already have got the country, and here in this is the US, right? So okay, right, yeah. So once I put it there, the state part, right, once after creating this US, right, you can see that entire states of US, around 50 states are there in US. So all these states name have come there, right? So we can put the colors, no problem. Colors is our choice, right? We can do it so that this becomes more visible. Okay, so let's say I want to put it a little bit pink. Okay, let's select purple instead. Okay, so we have put the purple color here. Okay. And so I've put the state into the level so that this becomes a little bit more highlighted, right? The states. Okay. But we'll remove it if it is I see it as a challenge for understanding our data which we want to do, right? So let's say I want to put the sales numbers here, right? I want to put the sales, how the sales will be looking like. Okay. So I go ahead and put the sales here, and you can see that sales number, if you put the cursor there, the sales number are appearing there. Okay. And then if I want to put this sales number in form of colors, right? Okay, let's start it from fresh. Fine, so we'll get rid of this also. Okay, let's put these dates. Okay, and let's put the sales. Okay, so this is state versus state sales versus profit canvas, where state wise we have got the sales numbers, right? I'm putting it into descending order. Okay, and then let's say if I want to change it to map. Yes, so this is exactly what I wanted to get, right? So we have put the country here, country and region here, and then we have put the numbers for sales, right? And you can see the size of this particular dots which you are seeing, right, is the size of the sales, right? So this is representing your sales, right? How much is the sales, right? Depending on the size of this dots will be your sales part. Okay. Yeah, so you can see here this dots will be representing the sales part. Okay, and then if I want to put the labels here, I can do it, right? So the labels will give you the sales numbers, right? Whatever the sales numbers, you can see it right there. Okay, and you can see which state is having the highest sales. Obviously it's California, you can easily see it here, right? That is having the highest sales, followed by, let's say, New York is there among the top, right? And then we have got dot of Texas, right? We have got dot for our Michigan and Washington, and you can see, right, which are having very, for example, Iowa has very less sales. Nebraska is almost negligible. That same is for uh, Wyoming as a state. Idaho also has the very little dot. Okay, Nevada is something average, right? New Mexico is also a very small. Florida is having better sales, right? So with these dots, you can see that yes, what has been the comparative quantification of the numbers. Okay, so that you can see it here, right? You can increase the size also, right? You can increase the size also, right? By going to the size, you can increase the size, right? Now this is one that I have created, sale versus profit. Like let me just say it as sales, right? Instead of sale versus profit, just let me say it as sales. So this is the sheet that has been created with the graphical representation of sales. Okay, now what I can do, I can add one more sheet here, right? Let me add one more sheet, right? And here I'll be creating something for profit. Okay, so here I go ahead and I create for profit. Okay, so what I'll be doing here, right? Again, I'll be putting the country and region, right? And we shall get United States, and then we will have the profit state-wise. Yes, so this is the state-wise representation of the profit, right? I'll change the color. Let me say green color. Deep green color looks better, right? So I'll change the size as well, right? So I'll change the dot sizes, right? So this green will be representing what are the numbers that is for profit, and then I will go ahead and I will put the numbers as well as labels, right? And then I have got two data, right? One is for sales, this is how it looks like, right? And then the other one is for profit, right? So you can see again, since the highest number of sales has happened in uh, California, right, and the highest number of profit as well looks in California, right? So now what I can go ahead, I can create a dashboard, right? So this dashboard will be saying that I want sales versus uh, profit as the subject, okay? And then I can put my sales the chart that I created, and then I'll beside that I'll put the profit chart which I created, okay? So this is my sales chart, this is my profit chart, right? And this is how it will be looking like. Okay, so I want to add text here. I can add a text here, right? Let's say I want to add a text which says, and I want to say it as sales versus profit, right? I can do it here. Right, and then okay, so I can play with this, right? We can play around with this, right? So you can say sales versus profit has come here, right? Your profit, your sales column, right? So this is your sales versus profit. This is your profit. This is US, right? And in case you have added any filter, for example, here in sales, let's say I want to add a filter, right? Let's say based on the order date, right? I want to add a filter, right? So I can say that I want to put a single value list, right? So you can see the how the canvas will change, right? This makes it very interactive after adding the filter, right? This becomes very interactive for this 4 years, right? Similarly, filter I can add for profit as well, right? So I can go to the order date, I can say add filter or show filter, right? And there I can change it to single value list, and there also you can see that yes, how the data is changing here with the change in the year, right? Okay, right. So this is how you can do it, right? Sales versus profit, right? So I have tried to give it into a quick way, into a very shortcut way for you to just understand what all you can do here, right? So you can add many things here, right? You can create an entire dashboard, very interactive one, right? For you to understand, right, for your end user to understand this entire thing. Okay, so now let's see how we can have the live data, right, how we can put the live data here. Okay, so what we can do, right, I'll just go to another Tableau sheet, right, so I'll open a new sheet. Okay, so if you go to a particular website, right, if you go to this particular website, which is Ministry of Home and something, right, so this is the Government of India's website, right. If you go there, right, if you open it here, right, let me try to open it for you. Yeah, so if you see, this is the website which gives you the live data for COVID-19 cases, and here I have I'm trying to see the COVID-19 cases for state wise, right, so I'll just click here, right. You can see this is the COVID-19 cases that is there right now in India, live from the government, right, and it's being updated by the government as and when the data is being fetched, right. So obviously it's a sad representation, right, but we are just considering it for the time being so that we can, because this is also important for us to understand, right. So we'll just see, we'll consider this data, right. So will you take the help of Excel, right. So what I will do, I'll just copy this, right. If you remember in the previous session that we saw how we can add the data from URL from web into our Excel, and how we can put it for live uh, refreshment. I mean, as the data gets updated, right, my data set also gets updated. So I'm just opening this Excel sheet, right, a blank Excel sheet, right. I've copied this particular website. Okay, so I'm just opening a blank workbook there, right. I go to my data, right, I go to my data, and then I say from web, I'm pasting the URL, removing the slash, right, and I say okay. Now we will be taken to Power Query, right. Okay, so we go to table view. Document is not something we want to use. We want to use this table, right? So here's the table, right, with the required information, but we do not require these information, so I need to get rid of it. Okay, so I have the other data ready with me here. So I go ahead and say transform data. So while I'm transforming the data, I am I'm going to Power Query Editor, right? So what I'll be doing, right? So I want to get rid of this five or six lines. Okay, six bottom rows I want to get rid of. So there's an option called reduce rows. I can say and go and say remove rows, right? And I can say remove bottom rows. Okay, and there I can select six as an option, right? I want to get rid of this six bottom rows, and I say okay, right. So every time data will be refreshed, this things will automatically get executed. Okay, so I go there and I say close and load. Okay, so now this data is being loaded to your Excel sheet from Power Query, right. So this data is being loaded, and now this data is already loaded there. I will be naming this data as COVID data, right. So I've named this data as COVID data. Okay, and then okay, I need to use the underscore in the naming convention. So I'll say COVID underscore data. I cannot use the space. Right, so in the refresh, I will go to connection properties and I will say refresh this data every 60 minutes. Okay, and I say okay. So now this data will be refreshed every 60 minutes. So my data is ready, right? I do not have the unwanted rows. Okay, so I can go and I can save this data, right? So here is a folder. I've already saved this data. I'll be resaving this data as COVID data, right? I'll be replacing it. Fine. So my data is already saved, right? This particular data I've extracted. Now let's go to Tableau. Okay, so I'll go to a new file. Okay, so this is a new file which I have just opened, right? So here I'll go to file. I will open the data which I have saved as COVID data. Right now we have saved it, right? So I'll open it. Now the data is being imported from your Excel to your Tableau. Yeah, so you can see this data is already imported, right? So there's a serial number, the name of state and union territories, there's active cases, right? So cured cases, discharge cases, and that's right, and total confirmed cases. So we'll be basically working on the total confirmed cases, right? So now this is a live data, right? As the data gets refreshed, right? Here also the data will be refreshed, okay? Because in Tableau we work on two things, right? Which we cannot see here, but if you open your Tableau desktop, right, there will be something on live and extract. So we basically work on live, right? So similarly, we are working on live. So this will be refreshed every 60 minutes, right? So that my graphical representation, which I'm going to create in Tableau, will also be refreshed every 60 minutes. So what we are going to do, I'm going to first name this as confirmed cases, right? Confirmed cases. Okay. So what I can do, I can go ahead and I can put my longitude and latitude, right, for the map to appear, right? And then we can go to the name of the state and union territories, right? So here is the data for India, right? So next, what we can do, we can go to total confirmed cases and we can pull the data, right? So yes, now what we can do, we can change the size, right? So these are the total confirmed cases in labels. Then if we want, we can change the size. Let's see if it's working. The size is getting common for everything. Fine. So we'll just have the numbers here, right? We'll just have the numbers. Okay, so here is the representation of the confirmed cases, right? You can see the confirmed cases which are there in India, right? You can go to these dots. This will be representing the total confirmed cases and the name of the place. Okay, so you can just go and add the names of the place also there. So Uttar Pradesh has got 16,000 cases, Delhi has 56,000 cases, Maharashtra has 1,28,000 cases, and these are the live data which you can actually see it on your Tableau. This is how you have created your live data set, right? And then you can add one more right here. Instead of confirmed cases, let's say I want to create the active cases. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can say active underscore cases, right? So here also you have the name of the states, right? So you can put this name of the state in the labels as well, right? So you have the name of the states and union territories there, right? So there you can go and say what are the number of active cases, right? Yeah, so if you put it in the size, right, it will come. So here also what we will do for total number of confirmed cases, right, uh, we'll put it into the size part. Okay, yes, now the size here will represent the number of confirmed cases, right? So confirmed cases, I'll highlight it as red. Okay, and for active cases, right, let's highlight it as orange. So these are the active cases, these are the confirmed cases, right? And then we can increase the size a little bit for confirmed cases, right? We can increase the size a little bit for confirmed cases. Yeah, right. So these are the active and confirmed cases. You can see I just need to put the active cases as labels, right? And here I have the numbers, right? So now you can see what are the active cases and confirmed cases state-wise. Okay, so I can create a dashboard, right, where I can have first the confirmed cases, and then I can have the active cases, and you can see both the representations are here. Okay, or I can remove it as, yeah. So you can see everything is being shown here, right? So you can compare in one canvas, you can see what are the live data for confirmed cases and active cases of COVID-19 in India right now live, right? So this is possible to create very easily when we are doing it in Tableau. Okay, so this is for your basic understanding of how we do graphical representation, how do we do data visualization in Tableau, how you are going to use the Tableau. Okay, so we will come up with the more detailed knowledge about Tableau, how to do, let's say, how to use the show me feature there, right? How to develop a visualization more uh, in a better manner, right? What are the different rules that we should use for doing the Tableau data visualization, right? So a lot more things we are going to learn next week in the next session. Okay, so right now this is what I wanted all of you to understand. Okay, for understanding of Tableau from this session, right? So what we learned today is what is data visualization, right? We learned what are the different data visualization tools. We also understood what is big data. Okay, and we understood what are the different Tableau products, right? So we saw Tableau Public, Tableau Desktop, Tableau Online, Tableau Prep Build, right? And then we saw what is Tableau Public, right? So we basically worked on Tableau Public, and we also took an example of Superstore US data visualization and India state-wise COVID-19 cases we created from scratch, right? By doing the web scraping. Okay, so this all we have learned today. Right now I would be very much interested if you have any questions in what we have covered till now, right? I would encourage all of you to please unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Yes, I'd be happy to have some questions from all of you, right? Or else I'll be asking some questions. Okay, Shri, you are there from the beginning, right? So uh, somebody has left because I want to ask questions. Okay. Shri, you just tell me what uh, have you understood about Tableau? What all we can do in Tableau, right, according to you from this session? Shri, are you there?
Yes, sir. Um, like you were asking about like what are the 3 points that we learned from Tableau?
Yes, yes. I mean, what all you understand that today how Tableau is useful, what all we
It's
can do?
it is one of the data visualization tool that I can say that
Okay.
we can use for representing or for the presentation purposes. And
Okay.
the refreshing part, I didn't knew with the, I mean, whether it is available with the Power BI or not, but this is something really good with the data visualization. You don't have to pull data every time. So the
Yes.
moment you set it for 60 minutes for the refreshing thing, so it
Right.
refreshes automatically. That's a good thing. But I'm unsure that whether this is available with the Power BI or not.
No, this is
And the
not
third,
available in Power BI. So the same thing, I mean, you need to go and put the refreshment part in. I mean, you can do it through Excel only, right? But it doesn't get automatically refreshed. You need to manually do refresh for it. For example, if I show it to you, right, in the sorry, not Power Query. I mean, I want to show it to you. Just give me a second.
sure.
Yeah, if I just show it to you in Tableau Desktop, right? So this will make the things more clear if we are opening this Tableau Desktop. So just give me a moment.
Uh, the reason why I asked you this question, sir, because I just want to relate this thing to my daily workflow. Every day,
Mm-hmm.
the whatever data we get it in our own domain server or our own domain product,
Okay.
we will pull it out via uh, a report. We will pull it out via a report, which converts from an HTML to Excel. So every day on daily basis, I have to pull that report, and then I have to represent that report or the Excel thing in our
Mm-hmm.
local team channel to to let everyone know that today these are the things which has been added up to
Correct.
our they
Correct.
already added work. I mean the extended work has been added. So I thought
Right.
I can do something whether if it is available in the Power BI. I thought of representing
Mm-hmm.
this thing and clocking out clock. I mean to set the clock for like for 24 hours every day, such that I
Mm-hmm.
can. I mean without pulling this report every time, I can just refresh it.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
As you said, like
Right.
we have to do it manually. I'll try. I mean, if you can show me the manual thing, I'll try to do from tomorrow onwards. The manual thing. I'll download a report. I'll keep the report and then I'll do this thing edit part in the Power BI and I'll see whether it is getting refreshed or not on Tuesday.
Right. So for Power BI, I'll show it to you when we are having the Power BI session. Okay. Here I'll show you if you're using Tableau, right? I will encourage you to switch to Tableau if you are into Power BI. But again, depends on the company's discretion whether they want to switch to Power BI or not, right? For example, let's say if I'm putting this data which of COVID-19 which we created right now, okay, in Tableau, right? So I'm just pulling it. Now, if you can see, there are a lot of options available in this Tableau Desktop, right? So if you see here, there's something called connection as live and connection as extract, right? If you can see on the right hand side for Tableau Desktop, right? So always try, Tableau is always better because it gives you this option, right, for connection live. So as your data set changes here, right, as your data set changes here every 60 minutes, right, so will be the change in your Tableau here, since you are using the live connection, right? So what do you need to do, right? So there's an option here. Just let me quickly see it, right? Yeah, refresh data source part, right? So here, if you do the refresh data source part, right, as the data source changes there, right, there will be changes here automatically. Okay. So I hope this helps, right? And we'll definitely look into solving your problem when we are coming to Power BI, which most probably will start alternatively next week, right, from Saturday onwards. So just bear with us for one more week, and then we'll be in a position to help you with Power BI as well. Okay. But that was a lovely question. Thank you for that. And it also gave me the opportunity for you to show me how the Tableau desktop looks like. Okay, you can see I'm right now into this trial period. Okay, and since mostly we'll be using Tableau Public only, that's why I didn't introduce you to Tableau Desktop. But there's not much difference in Tableau Desktop and uh, Tableau Public in terms of usage, right? It's just that the number of options in Tableau Public is pretty less. The anonymity is questionable in Tableau Public, That if you are working on some critical data, it's totally unadvisable for you to use Tableau Public. You can do it in, you should do it in Tableau Desktop only. Okay. So thank you, Sri, for that question. Apart from that, anybody else would like to ask something, or you want to share something? Fine. So with this, we will close the session for today. Okay. And just give me a second. If there's anything else to be shared in the slides. Okay, so there's nothing else to be shared in the slides, right? So thank you for joining us today, all of you, right? Thank you for participating. I hope this session was helpful, right? And I expect all of you us to join us back again next week, right? We'll be deep diving more into Tableau, and we'll be alternatively also starting Power BI. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone.